Hey all, I'm back with another Duel Links related video, this time focusing on the new Fire Fist support following the release of the new set, Eternal Stream. The new support brings the archetypes some important combo pieces, alongside some extra deck support, and even a ritual boss monster, so to speak, giving the deck access to more legitimate plays within the current meta. The deck on screen is what I've been running so far on ladder. There's a lot of variety in deck building trends, some focusing solely on level 3 Fire Fists, other focusing on level 4 ones, and builds that combine both. Different deck building trends are also seen even within builds with the same focus, with some having a small deck size to maximize consistency, and others increasing deck size to 25 plus cards to maximize combo pieces and increase the ceiling of the deck. Expect to see ongoing diversity in deck building trends to come as the optimal way to play the deck is ironed out. Personally, I've had the most success with 21 cards so far. The deck is very consistent in theory, having multiple ways to search what it needs and having multiple pathways to achieve combos ending on boards with multiple negates. That said, many of the combos required 3 cards to start, leading to some awkward scenarios where we're 1 card short of being able to make a play, and it could be the difference between going +2 or setting a monster and passing. I like to keep the deck size small to maximize my chances of opening these combo pieces to keep awkward hands at a minimum. Starting with the first card, we have 5 Formation Tenki, aka the money card of the box. A card most people honestly didn't expect Konami to add due to how generic of a searcher this card really is. Basically search a level 4 or lower Beast Warrior monster on activation. Fire Fist can have powerful 3 to 4 card combos that can be difficult to pull off without the appropriate combo pieces. Tenki usually acts as 2 of those combo pieces, being both the Fire Formation card on the field as well as adding whichever monster is needed for that situation. Needless to say, this is a very much needed 3 of. After activation, the card stays on the field and provides a 100 attack boost to all Beast Warrior monsters on your field. It's also worth noting you can only activate this card once per turn, so any additional copies you have can only be set that same turn. Next, we have 5 Formation Tensu, which gives your Beast Warriors an additional normal summon. Another 3 of, as the additional summon ends up being crucial to extend plays and helps you end on bigger boards than would otherwise be possible with just 1 summon. Also provides a 100 attack boost to all Beast Warrior monsters on your field, so kind of cool, I guess. Next, we have 5 Formation Gyokkou, or however I pronounce it. When activated, you can target a set spell trap your opponent controls and lock your opponent out of activating it while Gyokkou is on the field. It's important to note that the target card cannot respond to Gyokkou's activation. However, if the opponent chains another card to Gyokkou's activation, your opponent can then chain the targeted card to the other card, since it's technically not activating in response to Gyokkou at that point. Somewhat convoluted, but basically, for the most part, you could just activate Gyokkou without your opponent responding, so that's great. Truth be told, it's much more awkward than MST and Cosmic Cyclone, but we play it as back or removal that can be searched while also being helpful to facilitate combos that require Fire Formation on the field to activate. We play it at 1 as this card is awkward to have turn 1, since unlike the other Fire Formation spells we play, you can only activate Gyokkou under certain conditions, aka your opponent controlling a set spell trap, making it dead turn 1 and the worst Fire Formation to start with. Also something 100 attack boost to all Beast Warrior monsters we control. Next up, we have 5 Formation Yoko, which upon activation allows you to destroy one of your opponent's face-up cards by discarding a Beast Warrior monster. A decent 2 for 1 pop that also can allow you to set up your graveyard with monsters that you may want to special summon from there. Useful to have a searchable pop when needed. Worth noting that you don't actually have to pop anything to activate this card, so it is live turn 1 as opposed to something like Gyokkou, you know, if you need a 5 Formation on the field to just combo off with, though you won't be able to get the pop effect anytime after activation. Yada yada yada, 100 attack boost to all Beast Warrior monsters. We play this at 1. Finally, for spells, we have 5 Formation Domei, which upon activation lets us summon the Fire Fist ritual monster by tributing monsters whose combined levels equal to or exceed its level. When sent from the field to the grave, it also lets you summon a Fire Fist monster from the grave. With multiple ways to send Domei to the grave within the strategy, this ends up acting as a very useful extender that lets you summon monsters back on the field to commit to more extra deck plays. Like with Yoko, you can activate this card even if you can't actually ritual summon anything, so worst comes to worst, it can be a Fire Formation target to start combo plays. Like with Yoko, however, you also won't be able to ritual summon with it anytime after the card's initial activation. Unfortunately, no 100 attack boost to all Beast Warrior monsters with this card, so it's automatically the worst card in the deck. As such, we only play this at 1. For our trap selection, we really just play 1 trap card, and that is the ultimate Fire Formation Sinto. Sinto is a counter trap that basically negates and destroys an activated spell or trap card as long as you control both a Fire Formation card and a Fire Fist monster. We play it as 1 as it's searchable and it can only be used as a hard once per turn anyway, and we prefer to search it rather than starting it in the hand. Moving on to our first monster, we have Brotherhood of the Fire Fist Elephant. When summoned, Elephant lets you special summon another Fire Fist monster from your hand by sending a Fire Formation card you control to the graveyard. graveyard. Some Fire Fist monsters have strong search effects when special summoned, so this acts as your main play starter. Keep in mind, having no Fire Formation means no special summon. Elephant also has a second effect, which lets you return a Fire Formation spell from your grave to the deck to search a level 5 or higher Fire Fist monster from your deck. In this build, we use this effect to search the ritual monster. Your typical turn 1 combo involves summoning Elephant and sending a Fire Formation to the grave, ideally a Tenki that you've already gotten value from via its search. You then typically send that same Fire Formation card that you sent to the graveyard back to the deck to add the ritual monster to the hand. Next we have Brotherhood of the Fire Fist Spirit. When normal summoned, Spirit summons a level 3 fire monster with 200 or less defense from the graveyard. It's a tuner, so this becomes a 1-card synchro summon of a level 6 synchro once your grave is properly set up. The synchro can only be a Beast Warrior monster, and only Beast Warrior monsters can attack the turn you use Spirit's effect, so unfortunately no Bryonic shenanigans. Usually we play it at 1 to 2. In this build we play it at 2 copies as we tend to summon this more than once a duel. Next we have Brotherhood of the Fire Fist Ram. When normal summoned, if you control a Fire Formation card, you could target that card and discard a card from your hand to set a different Fire Formation from your deck. When special summoned, however, by a Fire Fist monster, aka your Spirit or Elephant, you can set a Fire Formation card from your deck as long as a copy of that card isn't already in the graveyard. A great target to special summon when you're running low on Fire Formation cards and need to bring some out from the deck. Played at 2, some people play it at 3, especially in bigger builds. Next up is Brotherhood of the Fire Fist Rooster. This lets you add a Fire Fist monster from your deck to your hand when special summoned by a Fire Fist monster. While on the field, you could send a face-up Fire Formation card to the grave to set a Fire Formation from the deck. This could be another copy of the same Fire Formation sent to the grave or a different Fire Formation card altogether. Worth noting, this effect isn't a hard once per turn, so summoning multiple Roosters lets you swap out multiple Fire Formation cards from the deck. We play this at 2 copies. In theory, it's one of your best cards in the deck due to the advantage it generates. However, it is limited by the fact that it requires up to 4 cards to make the most use out of it turn 1. Your typical turn 1 requires Elephant to summon Rooster from the hand by sending a Fire Formation card you control to the grave, and another Fire Formation to swap into another Fire Formation card to get really the most value off of Rooster. However, with Tenki, this becomes a 3-card combo since you use Tenki to search either Rooster or Elephant depending on which of the 2 you don't have in the hand. Then you send that same Tenki to the graveyard with Elephant's effect to special summon the Rooster, requiring only 1 more card in hand, aka that second Fire Formation, to continue comboing off. Worth noting that both Ram and Rooster don't get their special summon effects when summoned off of Domei's effect, since they are required to be special summoned by a Fire Fist monster in particular. Next up, we have Brotherhood of the Fire Fist Buffalo. Basically, summoned from the grave by sending 2 Fire Formation cards and or Fire Fist monsters either from the hand or face up on the field to the graveyard. A seemingly costly summon, however, when summoned while sending a face up Domei to the graveyard, you can then special summon a Fire Fist monster from the grave from Domei's float, allowing you to trade 2 cards for basically 2 monsters. With Elephant in the grave, this essentially allows you to bring out 2 level 4 monsters for rank 4 plays without needing your normal summon. We played at 1. Finally, we have Brotherhood of the Fire Fist Eland, a level 6 ritual which lets you summon off of Domei's activation. Eland lets you discard a Fire Fist monster to set a Fire Formation card from the deck or graveyard. You usually use this to set a Sinto from your deck turn 1, then reset that same Sinto from the grave turn 3 onwards for more negates if needed. Eland also lets you negate the activation of your opponent's monster effect by sending another face-up Fire Fist or Fire Formation card to the graveyard. Worth noting that while this can let you negate monster effects activated from anywhere, unlike something like Arvada, it will not negate effects during the damage step. So a hand trap like Sphere Karibo can be negated, but a hand trap like Kiteroid, Temperance, and Veil cannot be negated. Similarly, a monster's floating effect when destroyed by battle, such as a Winda float, can't be negated either. However, that same Winda being destroyed by like a card effect outside of battle or outside of the damage step will be able to be negated by an Eland. It's still a very powerful negate that is usually easy enough to pay the cost for once your combo gets going. The general turn 1 combo involves setting up a Eland negate with Sinto set for a monster and spell trap negate on your opponent's turn, basically saying, please don't play the game or I cry. Finally, the extra deck. We have Brotherhood of the Fire Fist Tiger King, obligatory Netflix joke, etc, etc, etc. On summon, it lets you set a Fire Formation spell trap from your deck. In other words, this lets you search your searcher by setting a Tenki. It also lets you detach a material to negate the effects of all monsters on the field except Beast Warrior monsters. You usually don't think of this effect, but having an on-hand negate can be really helpful in certain situations. It also has a ridiculous floating effect that lets you send 3 Fire Formation spell trap cards to the grave to special summon 2 level 4 or lower Beast Warrior monsters from the deck. You're not using this effect. It's ridiculous. Stop. Next up, we have Brotherhood of the Fire Fist Horse Prince. Horse Prince is the level 6 synchro we typically summon off of Spirit. On summon, it lets you special summon a level 3 fire monster from your deck, allowing you to continue generating value off of that initial Spirit summon. We use this to summon a Rooster or a Ram to gain value from your special summon effects while putting more bodies on the field for combo plays, lethal pushes, and negate fodder with Eland. Worth noting that you can't summon level 5 or higher monsters for the rest of your turn after you summon this, so you do have to summon Eland prior to summoning this if you're planning on summoning Eland at all. Next, we have Brotherhood of the Fire Fist Cardinal. Cardinal is our late game push. Maybe more so mid-game push. Really depends. It's not really that hard to set up. But basically, it lets us return 2 Fire Fist and or Fire Formation cards from face-up on our field and or in our graveyard to the deck to return 2 of our opponent's face-up cards and or cards in their graveyard back to the deck. Fantastic bit of removal. This usually results in a big upswing in tempo when you pull this off. With Buffalo and Elephant engrave along with Domei on the field, a relatively common game state, you can easily go into this without having to commit your normal summon. Important to note that this card requires you to target 2 cards on both sides of the field, so you can't activate this effect if either you or your opponent don't have enough targets. Next, we have Vulcan the Divine, another level 6 synchro we summon off of Spirit, usually as a late game push to clear a problematic monster. Basically, bounce a face-up card on your field to bounce a face-up card on your opponent's field. While you can't use whatever face-up card you bounce back to your hand, this can be useful to return something like a used Tenki back to the hand, so you could use it again for another search next turn. Finally, I just added Malevolent Sin, Giga-Brilliant, and Corebage. Basically, I just added this to deal with situations Cardinal and Vulcan might not be able to, aka mostly face down monsters. Giga-Brilliant's ability to boost attack also sometimes comes up to help your Fire Fists get over strong monsters as well, since they otherwise do typically struggle to get over strong monsters. However, different builds have different options they may tech in for the remainder of their extra deck, so there's plenty of room to experiment based on what you feel you might need most in your toolbox. And finally, we have the most important card in our deck, Book of Moon. Just kidding. Everyone just always gets mad at me for playing Book of Moon because I'm a dumb whale and everyone hates me for it. For our skill, we play Crystal Power, a Jesse drop skill, which boosts the attack of all monsters you currently control by 200 for each continuous spell on the field. If you have 3 Fire Formation spells on the field, this gives all your monsters a potential 600 attack boost, aka 1800 additional damage on board if you have 3 monsters on the field. This could be crucial to out large boss monsters such as Spirit Dragon, as well as to hit lethal ranges you otherwise wouldn't be able to hit. Overall, the deck is powerful if it goes first and full combos into Eland with Sinto negate set up turn 1. Double negate can be oppressive for a lot of decks and can win you the duel right there. Deck also generates an insane amount of resources once it gets going, typically going +2 turn 1 when setting up the double negate board. It's also able to cycle through itself very well, so an experienced player can get whatever resource they need if the situation arises. That said, going second, the deck is very vulnerable to interruption, especially in the pure build, as your only out to oppressive cards is your 1 of Gyokkou and 1 of Yoko. If given the chance to set up, however, the deck can steamroll the opponent and then do it again the next turn and the turn after that, maintaining consistent control. And with that, let's go over some tryhard replays I saved while trying to learn this deck on ladder. YouTube. Obligatory, before you watch these, please subscribe and make me feel super relevant and important. Thank you. Alright, we are going second versus My Valentine, and we got ourselves Harpy's Hunting Ground activated, so I'm going to presume that this is Harpy's, and going first against Harpy's could be kind of okay as long as you full combo and set up both the monster and a spell trap negate, though even then it's not really guaranteed that you're going to be able to stop them completely. But going second is just basically like, oh my god, please just beat me already. As they go ahead and they start off with clearly full combo anyway, summoning a Channeler. With HHG being the only spell trap on the field, they are forced to pop itself with the summon of the Harpy monster. As they discard the Harpist with the Channeler's effect, they special summon the Prismatic Perfumer. Perfumer is going to search from the deck to the hand the Harpy's Feather Rest. And then they're going to go ahead, synchro summon into the Cyber/Harpy Lady. Then they're going to activate the Neos Fusion, sending both the Neos and the Oracle from the deck to the graveyard so they could special summon that Brave Neos, activating the Harpy's Fed Rest, returning the Chandler, Perfumer, as well as Oracle from the graveyard to the deck to draw 2 cards, leaving Harpist in the graveyard, setting a back row, and in the end phase, Harpist is going to allow them to search a follow-up Chandler, the scary turn 1 Harpy Lady board, besides maybe 1 or 2 more back row set. But that's okay, because we rip into our 1 of Gyokkou, which means we might actually have a chance now. As we activate the Gyokous, say goodbye to that back row. We go ahead and activate the Tenki, add from deck to the hand the Buffalo. Honestly, Harpy Ladies might be a little scary since we are kind of spell reliant, but when we activate our spells, it's not to a point where it would really screw us over, especially in our turn 2 combo. So we go ahead, we activate the Tensu after searching the Buffalo with the Tenki. We normal summon the Elephant, sending that Tenki from the field to the graveyard to special summon the Ram, which is going to allow us to unsummon, set the Domei from the deck face face down. Then we're going to activate Elephant's effect, returning that Tenki to the deck so that we could add Eland from the deck to the hand. Flipping up to Domei, Dami, we're going to use the Buffalo in hand as well as the Ram so we could ritual summon the Eland. And we did this instead of using the elephant on the field so we could get the buffalo in the graveyard. And we didn't have enough room on the field so we could use Eland's effect to discard the buffalo. So we used Buffalo's effect to send Domei as well as elephant to the graveyard so that we could then activate Domei's float effect so that we could special summon that elephant onto the field. Cyber/Harpy Lady can respond to that. However, we could respond to that response by sending Tensu to the graveyard to negate with Eland's effect. So no bounce for them. Special summoning that elephant successfully. We got ourselves 2 level 4s into a Fire Fist Cardinal. We got ourselves plenty of targets to return to the deck, and so did they. As we detached 2 so we could return 2 from our graveyard to the deck to bounce both of their Synchro and Fusion monsters to the extra deck, leaving their board completely empty. Crystal Power just for the BM, attacking for 2100 and attacking for 2700, and that's game. We are going first versus Yami Yugi with a rank up match, and not just any rank up match. This is their COG rank up match, so let's see how awful we're feeling today. We are going first, and we have ourselves a pretty good hand, so we're going to go ahead and activate the Tenki, which is going to allow us to add the Buffalo from the deck to the hand. No point in adding Rooster here, since we wouldn't be able to activate another Fire Formation card from the hand, since we've already activated Tenki. We can't activate the second one. So we got Elephant summoning, sending the Tenki from the field to the graveyard to special summon the Ram in defense mode. Ram on special summon is going to allow us to set the Domei from the deck onto the field. We're then going to activate Elephant's effect to return that Tenki to the deck so we can add Eland from the deck to the hand. Then we're going to flip up that Domei, which is going to allow us to send both the Ram and the Elephant to the graveyard because we're tributing them to special summon Eland in defense position. Rule of thumb, if it's DSOD Kaiba or Yabi-Yugi, I'm just summoning everything in defense mode. Sending the Buffalo to the graveyard, we're going to set the counter trap, the Sinto from the deck onto the field, and end our turn. Not the most immediately overwhelming turn 1, but at least it's something. They're going to go ahead and activate the MST, popping our Sinto, so no point in negating it. If it was a Cosmic, we would have negated it so it wouldn't get banished. They activate the Tenki, which is going to allow them to add their Arvada from the deck to the hand. We got Fire Kings, baby. Normal summoning their Arvada and ending their turn. The battle to negates now. As we rip into the elephant, we go ahead and activate the Tenki to add the spirit from the deck to the hand. We then go ahead and normal summon that spirit, which is going to allow us to special summon the Ram from the graveyard. However, the Arvada is going to attempt to negate, but we're going to negate the negate by sending the Tenki with the effect of the Eland to the graveyard. Successfully summoning the Ram, setting from the deck a Yoko, and we got ourselves a synchro summon of a level 6. We got the Horse Prince on the field, which is going to allow us to special summon from the deck, as well as no longer special summon level 5 or higher monsters. We got ourselves the Rooster. Rooster's going to allow us to search another Rooster from the deck to the hand. At this point, we're just getting discard fodder on board. As we flip up the Yoko, we're going to discard the Elephant so we could pop the Arvada. Nothing in the graveyard for them to float into. Then we're going to discard the Rooster so we could set from the deck, from the graveyard now, the counter trap. Crystal Power going to activate. We're going to boost all our monsters by 400, and then we're going to activate Rooster's effect so we could then go ahead and set Tenki. This basically goes and allows us to forego the 100 attack but boost from Yoko, aka allowing us to put Rooster down to 1900, aka allowing us to play through a D-draw if there is a hand trap. And there is a Battle in Back Surveil, so we go ahead, attack it. Their life points are back at 4,000, but we're not going to attack again because we do not want to trigger the D-draw. Now, I gotta be real here. I had 1 second left here because it took like way too long to make this play, so I just said yes to the first thing I could have negated. So even though, honestly, like 1000%, you let the Tenki through, especially since whenever they search, you can negate with Eland anyway. You're supposed to negate the onslaught of Fire Kings or the Fire King Island, but we didn't have that time. But they topped it to that Tenki anyway. If they had onslaught, if they had Fire King Island, they would have used it anyway. So we're chilling, but really that was a misplay. They summon Barong, they kill the Rooster, and they end their turn. We go ahead, we flip up the Tenki we set from last turn, we search the Ram from the deck to the hand, activate Buffalo's effect, sending the Tenki from the field as well as the Tensu from the hand to the graveyard to special summon the Buffalo. Eland's going to discard the Ram so we could reset the Sinto from the graveyard. We just have follow plays up the wazoo. As we activate the Crystal Power, we're going to go ahead, attack into the Barong. We're going to attack into life points directly first with the Buffalo to play around Utopia Ray just in case, and then we're going to attack directly for game. No cog, feel sad. We are going first versus Yabel, who looks like they are ranking down if they lose this match. So let's see what we could do about that. When we see 20-ish card Yabel, we assume that this is probably Thunder Dragon. So let's see what happens here. We got ourselves a hand that looks pretty playable, actually. As we activate the Tensu to get ourselves some additional summons, we're going to also activate the Yoko, not to pop anything, but just to have another fire formation card so we could fully combo off. I'm going to go ahead, normal summon the Elephant, which is going to allow us to send that Yoko from the field to the graveyard to special summon the Rooster from the hand. Rooster on special summon is going to allow us to add the Buffalo from the deck to the hand. Rooster is then going to allow us to send that Tensu on the field to the graveyard so that we could set the Domei from the deck onto the field. We've already normal summoned the Dinshali with Tensu's effect, so we could still get another normal summon even though that Tensu's in the graveyard. Activating the effect of Elephant to return Yoko to the deck, we grab Eland from the deck. Okay, we're going to flip up the Domei now, sending both monsters from the field to the graveyard as ritual fodder so we can special summon Eland from the hand. We're going to use Eland's effect so that we can discard the Buffalo in the hand so that we can set not the counter trap this time, but the Tenki, because we haven't searched yet and we still have ourselves a summon. So we're going to flip up that Tenki, searching the spirit from the deck to the hand. We're going to go ahead and then normal summon that spirit, which is going to allow us to special summon the Rooster from the graveyard. Rooster can use its effect again because it's a soft once per turn, sending that Tenki from the field to the graveyard so we could set a follow-up Tenki for next turn. Going into level 6 Synchro, we got ourselves the Horse Prince in defense mode. May as well. Defense and attack is pretty much similar. So we're going to go ahead and activate its effect of special summon from the deck, a Ram, since we have not activated special summon effect now. So Ram is going to go ahead and set from the deck a counter trap. We got the Sinto live. So now we have ourselves a monster negate and we have ourselves a spell and trap negate. Usually the spell and trap negate isn't super relevant if they use something like Charge the Light Brigade, since the most important thing is the mill for cost. But if they have something like the Melody of Awakened Dragon, then at least we could stop that. So we have ourselves Aloof Lupine, and TBH, they banished the Dragon Roar, and then we kind of shotgun the negate, sending the Ram to the graveyard so we can negate the Lupine's banish of the Dragon Dark. They still get the Dragon Roar summoned from the deck. Now, this is a little risky, because if they actually already had a Dragon Hawk in the hand, they probably could have punished us really hard, and we should have just probably waited for a Dragon Hawk in hand. We probably could have given them the Dragon Dark effect, but we weren't punished, so we're chilling. Alright, we are going second against what I presume to be Ultimate Dragons Kaiba. It is Ultimate Dragons, and Blue Eyes, especially going second, is typically a very difficult matchup because 3k defense is just impossible to deal with by itself alongside the plethora of traps that they usually have turn 1. So we got ourselves the Ancient Rules into the special summon of the Blue Eyes White Dragon. Normal summoning the White Stone of Ancients, we got ourselves the Blue Eyes Spirit Dragon in defense mode, sending a back row, and in the end phase, the White Stone of Ancients is going to allow them to special summon a Blue Eyes White Dragon from the deck, ending their turn. That one of trap is usually pretty terrifying, but hey, we have our one of Gyokkou as they tag out the Spirit Dragon into an Azure Eyes, I guess potentially playing around a Lightning Vortex. We're going to go ahead and activate the Gyokkou, getting rid of that back row essentially. Activating the Tenki, we're going to go ahead and search a Ram from the deck. We wouldn't search the Rooster here because we basically would have to get rid of the Tenki for Elephant's effect, and we don't want to get rid of the Gyokkou for Spirit's effect. So we're going to normal summon the Elephant, send that Tenki to the graveyard so that we could special summon the Ram from the hand, so we could then set from the deck the Fire Formation Domei. Then Elephant's going to activate to return that Tenki back to the deck so we could add Eland from the deck to the hand. Flipping up the Domei, we're going to use both the Ram and the Elephant on field to ritual summon the Eland. We're going to go ahead, activate Eland's effect, send the Buffalo from the hand to the graveyard so we could set the Tensu from the deck. Then we're going to activate the Tensu's effect, and then we're going to activate Buffalo's effect, sending both the Elephant in the hand as well as the Domei on the field to the graveyard so we could special summon Buffalo from the graveyard. And with the Domei being sent from the field to the graveyard, we're going to activate its float to special summon Elephant from the grave. We have ourselves 2 level 4s, so we're going to go into a rank 4. We have the Tiger King, which is going to allow us unsummon to set a Fire Formation card. We are setting the Yoko. It seems like an odd choice, but the attack boosts from each of these Fire Formation cards will matter very soon. Yoko is going to activate. We're not going to actually pop anything. We don't have anything to discard anyway, not that we could target them. Into the Crystal Power, giving both of our monsters a 600 attack boost, but boosting both of our monsters enough to be able to beat over both the Azure Eyes as well as the Blue Eyes White Dragon, clearing their board, turning off their back row, and leaving them in a top deck situation. As they draw up they activate the White Stone of Ancients, trying to banish it so they could add a Blue Eyes from the graveyard back to the hand. However, Eland says no by sending the Yoko to the graveyard to negate the White Stone of Ancients. They go ahead and set a back row and end their turn. We got ourselves Tenki off the top of the deck. That's why it's so beneficial to send it back to the deck with the Elephant. Adding the Rooster from the deck to the hand. We're going to go ahead and normal summon that Rooster. Rooster is going to activate, swap that used Tenki for a Sinto negate, and then we're going to go ahead Crystal Power. We honestly should have used Crystal Power before swapping out the Tenki for 200 extra attack, but let's be real, we're chilling. As we put the Eland to the defense position, just in case that's a drowning and not a bluff set because we don't feel a delay, we're going to attack for 2100 and we're going to attack for game. Alright, this time we are going first versus the SOD Kaiba, aka Ultimate Dragons, man. And this is a more comfortable approach for dealing with Ultimate Dragons. And this is a very interesting hand. Seems a little bad on the surface, but we got ourselves some potential setup now. So we're going to go ahead, we're going to activate the Yoko. Nothing to pop, but that's okay. As we normal summon the Ram, since we control a Fire Formation card, we're going to be able to discard the Buffalo so that we could set a different Fire Formation card from the deck. Setting a Tensu. Tensu is going to go ahead and activate. Then we're going to activate Buffalo's effect, sending both the Yoko as well as the Ram from the field to the graveyard so we can special summon the Buffalo. Then we're going to use Tensu's additional normal summon so that we can normal summon the Spirit, special summoning the Ram that's now in the graveyard. Ram has not activated the special summon effect yet, so now that it's special summoned, we're going to get to set a Tenki from the deck to the hand. Then we're going to synchro summon into the Horse Prince. Horse Prince is going to allow us to special summon from the deck the Rooster in defense mode. We want to summon everything in defense mode here because that way at least we don't have to worry about them going into a White Stone of Ancients crash in case we do negate them. It's really more relevant when we have Eland to put pressure on them with the negates, but even just regularly, we don't want them to crash into us and summon a Blue Eyes that we don't want to deal with. And we have Tenki searching a follow-up spirit. We then have the effect of the Rooster, which is going to allow us to send that Tenki to the graveyard to search the counter trap. And I think at this point they knew that they weren't going to out that. All that from what seemed like a very underwhelming turn one hand. We are now going second versus Yami Yugi, which at this point could be a number of different things, but we're gonna see what they do as they go first, and they set 1 back row, 2 back row, 3 back row. All my homies playing Fire Fist hate back row, and let alone 3 of them. As we go ahead, we activate the Gyokkou, randomly selecting the right back row. We're going to then activate the Tenki so we could add the Ram from the deck to the hand. We're going to go ahead and normal summon the Elephant, sending that Tenki to the graveyard so we could special summon that Ram in defense mode. Ram is going to allow us to set the Domei from the deck face down. We're then going to activate Elephant's effect, returning the Tenki so we could add Eland from the deck to the hand. Now at this point, triple back row seems very sus, and I have no idea what I'm even playing against. So at the risk of not activating D-Draw, because I don't want to, we're just going to go keep Elephant on board. We're going to wait until our counter trap is live before we make any bigger pushes, and we're just going to poke for 1300, ending our turn. No response from them so far, so they just go and pass. We're going to activate the Domei this time. We're going to use both the Ram as well as the Elephant on the field so we can make ourselves an Eland summon. We're then going to go ahead and normal summon the Spirit. Spirit's going to allow us to special summon that Ram so that we could go into a level 6 synchro. Horse Prince is here. We have ourselves 1 back row blocked, another back row we could deal with via negate. We just have to deal with 1 more back row. Horse Prince is going to allow us to special summon from the deck the Rooster. We're going big PP attack. Rooster on special summon is going to allow us to add the Buffalo from the deck to the hand. Into the Crystal Power, we have lethal through Veil with 2 monsters right now. So Horse Prince is going to attack directly for game. However, the Yosenju Sword Sting is going to reveal 2 Yosenju monsters so they could bounce both monsters that would equal lethal. However, we're going to say no. The Sinto says please, please stop as we negate and destroy the Yosenju Sword Sting. But wouldn't you know it? Of course they had to. Revealing the Oyam and the Kama 1 yet again so they could bounce back the Horse Prince as well as the Eland. We're not going to attack with the Rooster because D-Draw go Burr, so we're just going to end our turn. They're going to go ahead. They're going to normal summon the Kama 1. Additionally, normal summoning the Kama 3. We know the last card in hand is the Oyam, so now we're getting ready to think of how we could play through this. They bounce back our Rooster to the hand with the Kama 1 effect, attacking directly for 1600, getting to search with Kama 3 because another Yosenju monster dealt damage, adding a 3rd Yosenju Sword Sting from the deck to the hand, attacking for 1500, and leaving us at Utopia Ray range. Imagine if we play that. I mean, I guess it wouldn't matter for Yosenjus. Whatever, guys. Anyway, they bounce back to the hand at the end of their turn, and now it's back to us. We just had to play through one OEM. Can we do it? As we activate the Tenki, adding the elephant from the deck to the hand, we're going to go ahead and normal summon that elephant. Elephant is going to allow us to send the Tenki to the graveyard so we can special summon the Rooster. Rooster is going to allow us to add the Ram from the deck to the hand. Then we're going to activate Rooster's effect so we can send the Domei to the graveyard so we could play the Tensu from the deck. And with the Domei being sent to the graveyard from the field, we're going to special summon another elephant. We're going to activate the elephant's effect, sending the Domei back to the deck so that we could do nothing. We don't have to actually add anything with elephant's effect to return a fire formation card to the deck with elephant's effect. So super anti-deck out. As we go into a rank 4, we got ourselves Brotherhood of the Fire King. Brotherhood is going to allow us to set the Domei again so that we could re-summon the ritual monster. We use elephant's effect to recycle the Domei so that we could then bring it back on the field, using both the Brotherhood of the Firefist Buffalo as well as the Ram in the hand so we could ritual summon Eland for a second time, and a way to be able to potentially negate the Oyam. Flipping up the Tensu just to give ourselves some more boosts. Crystal Power is here. We got a 3200 attack Eland. Even Blue Eyes doesn't scare us. Attacking for 3200, the Oyam says hello, but Eland says goodbye. As we get to send the Tensu to the graveyard so we can negate the Oyam, bring it back to the hand, and attacking for game.